I hope everyone's doing well this week. So this week I decided to make a triple spin card, and it is a big card. I wanted to do an extra large card. I thought it would be fun and different, and this is what it looks like. So this is the envelope size, so it's pretty big, y'all. And this is what it looks like. I wanted to let you see it from all sides. And then standing up, it looks like so. I just decided to do something unique. It's always fun getting things in the mail that's sometimes oversized, and I just thought, let's try it. So this is what we come up with. So I just love how you can turn these and how they'll spin. So let's go ahead and get started on this card. Okay, so additional things you'll be needing this week is one sheet of cardstock that's 12 by 12, and that's so we can make our envelope to our card. You'll need a glue gun or some really good super glue, and fishing line or heavy duty thread. Okay, let's get into our pieces. These two pieces here, and they measure 4 inches by ½ inch, and then we're going to score these at 1 inch, 1½ inch, 2½ inches, and 3 inches, and you want to score on both pieces. And then this piece is 3 1/8 by 3/4 of an inch, and I've just rounded my corners on this. You'll need 2 pieces of that. And then our next piece is this one, and it is 3 inches by ½ inch, and then I also scored, curved the edges on these two. 4 pieces of pretty paper that measure 2 1/4 by 10 1/2, and then just 1 piece of plain paper. I'm going to use this piece to write a message on, and this one measures 2 by 10 1/4. A piece that's 4 1/2 inches wide and 10 1/2 inches long. And then you're going to need 3 circles, and the circles are 2 1/2 inches. And this first circle here, you're going to go up 1 inch and then come down 1/2 inch and then place it there. The next circle, the same thing. You're going to find 1 inch, and then you're going to go down and find 4 inches and place it there. And then this last one, we're going to go down and find 7 1/2, and we'll go in 1 inch. And then we're going to need a score line. Your score line is going to be 10 1/2 inches long. And we're going to go up and find 2 1/4 of an inch, and then score it all the way to the bottom. And then once you have that in design space, of course, just grab it all and attach it. So our next piece is 10 1/2 by 11, and along the 10 1/2 side, I'm going to give you the score lines you'll need. You're going to score them from the top to the bottom on all of them. The first one is going to be at 2 1/2 inches. The next one is going to be 5 inches. 7.5, and then 10. And then our circles, of course, are going to be 2.5 inches. On our first circle, we're gonna place it at the X at 1 1/4 of an inch, and the Y at 3/4 of an inch. So all of these are going to be placed at 1 1/4 of an inch. We're going to come down at 4 1/4. And then our last one is 1 1/4 of an inch. And then we're going to go down and find 7 3/4 of an inch. And then we're going to grab it all, attach it, and that is all of our pieces, I do believe. So we can go ahead and get started on putting this together. Also going to need a piece of just scrap paper, and I'm gonna use the color of my card base because this is a way I found to anchor our fishing line down so it doesn't slip through and doesn't move. So if you have your hot glue gun, probably now is a good time to go ahead and plug it in. I'm going to go ahead and put this piece on. Okay, now we're going to need a scrap of paper. And this is where we'll need our fishing line. And I'm going to cut a piece about 12 inches long. Okay, so what we need to do is cut a piece like so. What we'll kind of do is kind of stabilizing it so the string doesn't slip through or slide. Now we're going to place it right here on our score line, but let's go ahead and give our score line a little work. We don't want it folded completely in half, but we want to be able to see the score line. Okay, so now when we go to place our little tabs, when you cut it, you don't want it too big because you don't want it to be seen. And up here on this one, we're going to have to share it with the next anchor. So I think I'm going to cut mine just a little bit thinner. So it looks about like so. And then I fold mine in half. And then what I'm going to do is just put a little hot glue here to place this down, okay? And I did try using tape. I just couldn't get it to stay with tape. And before I close this, I want to wrap it around one more time so it doesn't slide through, and then I'm going to put just a little bit more glue. You don't want this to get this too bulky right here, and then go back through it again. So I went around it, and then I'm going to come up this time between my two pieces and I'm going to glue it again. And you don't need a whole lot. We just want enough to get it stuck in place. Now, see how that is not going anywhere, and we can pull it as tight as we want it. Now, you can snip, if you went past like me, this excess on this end, you can snip it down some so you don't see it. Now this will be so much easier to glue to your paper. So now what we can do is get your regular glue and put it on here. What we're gonna do is try to get it centered in the middle. And we can move it a little once we get it down, so it doesn't have to be precise. But I try to get it as close as I can to the middle of my score line. Okay, this should be dry so we can take our clip off. Then we're gonna go ahead and cut a second piece of paper like we did here. But remember, keep in mind that we're gonna have to place 2 tabs here, so don't cut it so large that they both won't fit. So once we glue our main piece here, we need to keep in mind we need to have enough string to wrap around our anchor to make it tight, and it would be able to put down here. See how tight that is? So just make sure you'd rather have more than not enough. So I think I'm going to cut mine about right there. And then we're just gonna keep repeating the process. Okay, so once you have this done and you think your string and everything is dry, you can go back through and clip off any little extra strings you see. Like on this one, I don't know if you can see it, but there's an extra string right here, fishing line, and I'm just gonna snip it off. And that's how we should be looking with your fishing line or your string, whatever you're choosing to use. Then once we have that done, we can go ahead and work our score lines. So let's do that. So we should have something that's looking like so. Now, our front score lines where our decorations are going to go, those we can work again, and we don't have to fold these all the way in half. We just want it enough to fold it, just curve it just a little. And so that's just about how much I've curved mine. Now let's go ahead and put our pretty paper on. Alright, so now we should have something that looks like so. Now the next thing we need to do is you would have to get your pieces to put in the center here. And remember, when you do your pieces, you're going to have a front and a back that matches, because it'll spin around. So for my first two, I'm gonna have bananas I'm going to use. So you need to make sure you have the same in the front and the back, because we're gonna put it in between the fishing line. This tape I find works best. You might have other tape. I've seen people use the red tear tape that works good too. But what I do is take just a little bit and put it across one of my pieces. It doesn't matter which. And then on my other piece, I put glue. Just making sure they match up. So I'm going to put this on my mat and get it lined up to where I want it. And just keep in mind your edges, because you don't want your image to hit either side of your circle, because it'll slow it down. So once I'm okay with it, I'm just going to push it down to my piece of tape, and then on this one I'm going to take my glue and adhere it to the other side. So there you have it. And this is where you can see on both sides, see how it's going to spin. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the rest of mine. Now the last thing we have is to put our little mats where we're going to put our message. So I'm going to go ahead and glue these down. So now that we have our little signs put together, what we're going to get is our two strips that have the 4 score lines on it. So let's go ahead and work the score lines. Okay, now that we have them worked, the first one is going to be a valley fold, the next one is a mountain fold, the next one is a mountain fold, and then the last one is a valley fold. So you should end up with something that looks like so. Okay, so valley, mountain, mountain, valley. We're going to place glue here to put our sign on. So let's do that. And you can make your sign as long and as wide as the paper will allow you to go. You don't have to necessarily go this length that I'm going. So now we should have something that looks like so. these two little legs here are what we're going to glue down. So we're gonna have to fold and keep them down like so. Because when we go to place this, we want the crease to be on the center of our sign, because the little space is going to allow it to move up and down. Okay, so why I suggest using glue is because you'll have a chance to move your legs around over the center of your score line. So let's go ahead and do that. So I have it down, and now I can scooch my legs to make sure they're up, not on the score line, but just on the other side of each side of it. And this allows our piece to lay flat also in our envelope. So that's how it's going to look from right there. So you just want to make sure each of your legs are just on the other side of your score line. So I'm going to go ahead and do my other one. Okay, so now we should have our signs done and on, and it should be looking like so. This is what mine looks from the other side, and that's what the front looks like. Now when we go to glue our tab down, we want to make sure this is laying flat. And for this part here, I really like to use tape because it seems less messy. So I'm going to go ahead and lay my tape down. And there we have it, guys. I just think it's just so cute. And I wouldn't necessarily send this a lot, but I think for a special occasion, because it is an oversized card, I think you could do so many cute ideas with this. But let's go ahead and get our 12 by 12 sheet of paper so I can show you how I did my envelope. Okay, to make our envelope, you're going to take your card and you're going to place it as evenly as possible on your 12 by 12 sheet of paper. So once you have that done, you're going to take each corner and you're going to fold it into your card. Now, if you can figure it out to give it a little extra space, that would even be better too. You cannot do this on the Cricut. I've tried, and if somebody knows how, please tell me. Or envelope that's this big. So I'm just gonna push it in and keep it as straight as possible. Then once we have that, you can go and cut your little triangles that your paper has made out. And on mine, because I didn't line it up perfectly, of course it's not on each one, but that's okay. I'm alright with that. Now what I do is put my card back in. And I see which one of these flaps on this side covers the most of my card. Usually one side is better than the other. Okay, so this side clearly covers more on the bottom. So I'm going to make this the top flap. Now for this bottom one that doesn't reach, I got a trick for that. We are going to take, see how we have excess here? We are going to take that and cut it off. So what I'm going to do is line my ruler up and put this flap on top so I can see. Line my ruler from this point to this point, and then I'm going to draw a line. Now you can cut it by hand. You can use a cutter. I'm going to use a cutter because I cannot cut straight. So for this side, because it doesn't quite touch, that's okay. We're going to fix that. I'm going to take this triangle that we cut the excess off with. We're going to line this edge up so nobody's going to know. Okay? Because if we look, this lays perfect. Alright? So we're going to line this edge up here. See how nice and smooth that looks? We can't even tell there's an extra piece here. Now for this excess that we have over here that's coming across our flap, we're just going to draw a line. Doesn't have to be perfect, it's not going to be seen. And we're going to snip that off. Remember, you always can go back and cut again, but you can't add more back. So I'm lining it back up, and that's perfect. So now what I do is make sure this flap is not interfering here. If it is, just snip a little bit more off. Okay, so now that we have that done, okay, so now we're going to draw a little line here, lift the flap up, and you're going to place glue everywhere on the other side of this line. So do not go on this side of your line. We have our little extension that's here. So now we know we need to take our pencil, lightly draw a line. We already drew a line. No, we did not yet. Draw a line on this side. So everywhere on this side of the line, we're going to either put tape or glue down. Now the only thing you have to do is decide how you want to clip this excess off here. then I'm going to curve my edges. Like so. And there we have it, guys. Our cute little envelope. And I think what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to put, maybe, if this bothers you, that you can see here, you could put some decorations. You could do washi tape over it and put it up. I think I might do some bananas if it bothers me that much. But I'm definitely going to put a banana here. But let's go ahead and check it out and see if it works. Ta-da! Isn't that great? I just love it. Okay, so if you have a problem, you can't get it in the envelope and twist them up, my solution that I came up with is, this does not have to be precise. I'm just taking scrap sheets of paper about inch wide. So you'll twist it as much as you would want it twisted. And then I'm satisfied, so take this tab and weave it in and out of your hole. So that's going to stop it from spinning. For the other two, what I did is took 3 scraps of paper, put this one in and weaved it out, and this one in and weaved it out. Then I took another sheet of scrap paper and put it on top and then just stapled it to it. I did end up adding washi tape to mine. This is gold, is the only color that I found that matched, so that's what I went with. Now you can slide your envelope in. Uh-oh, don't forget your... Once it's past your little pictures, you can take it out. And then push it the rest of the way in. And voila. And this is the rest of my card. The place where we can write our message. And then our oversized envelope. And there you have it, guys. So I just want to say thanks for crafting with me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.